Africa, rural Africa in particular, is known for agricultural practices. But indeed, the rest of the urban areas are trying to catch up with the level of agricultural practices going on here. But sustainable agricultural practices is also one issue that concerns us on IITA Africa. How do people go about farming in such a way that the environment is protected, food is secured, and everybody lives happy? Well, one institution in Nigeria, the IITA in Ibadan, southwestern Nigeria, is teaching young people and indeed farmers how to go about sustainable agricultural practices. But these young people, how are they going about it? How much of learning are they doing? Are they practicing? Are they seeing the results? Well, we went to Ibadan, the IITA, we spoke with the institution, and then we spoke with some of these ones who have learned from them and how they're using it.
This looks like an ordinary maize field, but it's not. It's a test field of a research institute. Maize is a primary source of food in Nigeria, but harvests are often diminished because of pests, droughts, and poor handling. At the International Institute of Tropical Agriculture in Ibadan, scientists breed new varieties.
Basically, we focus on the development of 4 different types of maize, and we try to incorporate tolerance or resistance to the various diseases and pests.
The researchers analyze different populations of maize and develop new strains that combine their best characteristics. Although the long-term consequences of genetically modified crops cannot be predicted, they are confident this is a good way to protect the environment.
Some of the pests can easily be controlled, through the use of insecticide. But this is not the most sustainable, and we all know the damage that this causes to the environment. So when we incorporate resistance to these stresses and pests, we reduce the need to apply herbicide, insecticides.
The IITA has also set up a training program for young farmers. Several thousand have already attended the courses, which take between 3 and 9 months. They not only learn how to plant and harvest, but also how to select the best seed types for the specific conditions where they live. The aim is to empower farmers and enhance their knowledge and skills.
We get a lot of theoretical teachings in school that does not give us this insight into what agriculture really is. Today I'm so excited because I also get the privilege to talk to young people about this, and I don't speak to them like our lecturers used to do. I speak to them from the practical point of view, bringing economics into what they do and how they can actually become their own boss.
The training courses are relevant to many different kinds of farming. Former student Peter Idowu started a fish farm 4 years ago. He breeds around 50,000 catfish. The entrepreneur has managed to make his business not only profitable, but also sustainable.
I met with the DG and he said, what can you do also? So I tried to put up a proposal, and which is integrated farming business, that waste coming from the pond, you can use it to grow vegetables organically.
The IITA aims to help farmers in Nigeria produce more food while minimizing the negative impact on the environment and contribute to food security in Africa.
Here on IITA Africa, we have lots of reports about cool ideas and products that are spin-offs from scientific research. Paper made out of grass, for example, or improved storage capacity for renewable energy.
Yes, or getting rid of plastic waste with the help of moths. Hard to believe. And so many other principles in nature may have huge benefits for the environment. One research team in southern Germany is pinning their hopes on a leaf. They say it could help giant ocean-going ships to save a quarter of the fuel that they use and keep them clear of algae into the bargain. So let's learn from nature now. Take a look.
This is the aquatic fern Salvinia molesta, commonly known as Kariba weed. It doesn't look like anything special, but underwater, it looks like it's silver-plated. Biologists and botanists have found out that the leaf structure of the fern retains a layer of air when submerged in water. The fern takes the air with it and uses the water as a silvery envelope. The fine hairs on the surface of the leaf are waterproof, but 4 water-holding cells each sit upon the egg beater-shaped ends. They hold the water so long and so well that no air escapes. The botanists from Bonn brought their discovery to the physicists at the Institute of Technology in Karlsruhe with a special request.
There's a plant that permanently holds air underwater, and no one knows why. And that was the beginning of a very nice collaboration between botanists and physicists.
Since ships are especially problematic for the environment, the researchers decided to make the ocean giants more eco-friendly with the Salvinia effect. Container ships transport about 90% of all goods traded worldwide. On the high seas, they burn a lot of highly toxic heavy fuel oil. Heavy metals and other harmful substances are released mostly unfiltered in dangerously high concentrations and quantities into the atmosphere. Carcinogenic, climate-damaging soot gets blown around everywhere by the wind.
The motor drives a ship forward, displacing water. But 70% of the energy expended actually goes to overcoming the resistance, the friction of the hull and the water.
This little boat is already riding on air that is encapsulated by a silvery water envelope. A newly developed material that is attached to the underside of the boat makes it possible. If this were to work on a large scale, some 25% of toxic ship fuel could be reduced. Apart from that, the ship's hull would no longer come into direct contact with the water. Poisonous algae-resistant paint would no longer be needed. The new material, with its honeycomb structure, works similarly to the Salvinia leaves. But the researchers didn't create an exact replica. The material on ships would have a slightly different function than the structure on the plants.
The plant simply wants to be able to breathe underwater in relatively calm waters. It needs a large amount of air, an artificial external lung. We want to reduce friction, to work with stronger currents at higher pressure, and we want surfaces that can be technically produced on a large scale. That's why we go from the plant to other forms that we design ourselves, that satisfy the technical requirements better.
The Salvinia principle is understood. The step from plant to synthetic material has been made. The new ship envelopes will most certainly come. The researchers are quite certain of that. And then every ship could be equipped with one. But it will take a while. The scientists estimate that in 10 years, they'll have achieved their goal.
Many regions in Africa are struggling with droughts. Water is becoming a more and more important resource, especially for small-scale farmers who depend on rain irrigation. There are already a number of smaller drip irrigation projects in different African countries, but not on a larger scale. In Burkina Faso, the Agricultural Ministry started a national project on drip irrigation. We have a look now at how it works.
For Kadiatu Toe, the work has become routine. She's head of the women's cooperative Makulele in the town of Biba, and she's responsible for cleaning the water filters. Last year, they installed a drip irrigation system. They've adopted organic farming methods and are growing maize. They got the irrigation equipment from the Agriculture Ministry for 20% of the normal price. The farming collective harvests 4 times a year.
The project is of great benefit to the women. They want to farm more land now. There are 215 of us, which is a lot. Our farm is too small for the group.
They also grow vegetables on 2.5 further hectares where they have to water by hand. Here they only harvest twice a year. The field with the drip irrigation is half the size, but it's twice as profitable.
I never used to have any money. Now I can pay my children's school fees and look after them. That makes me proud.
The cooperative in Biba is one of 23 such projects backed by the Ministry of Agriculture. The group was provided with a well, a solar-powered pump for the water, and a tank to store it in. Silimani Cabaret coordinates the ministry's efforts. He visits the Magolele collective twice a month. 1,300 farmers across the country are involved. Most are women. Cabaret says it's important to keep the equipment in good condition.
If a hose is damaged, or the irrigation grid breaks, or the solar power system, there has to be somebody right here in the village who can fix it. That's why we're involved in further developing the skills of local workers.
50 kilometers to the southeast, in the village of Dassa, the IITA Women's Cooperative now has such large onion harvests that they had to build a storeroom. They sell the onions when the price is right. Their operation is organic. They don't use any pesticides and they rotate their crops. They dry some of their onions and mangoes, which then keep for months. The National Farmers Confederation endorses these projects, but regrets that they're not to be found throughout the country.
The ministry is working to equip many farmers with this new technology, but it lacks the funds. 86% of the population live from farming, so it would take a lot of money to provide them all with the equipment.
Kariatu To has learnt a lot through the project. It's allowed her to improve the way she farms her own plot of land.
Thanks to the irrigation project, I've been able to build a storeroom for my onions.
Now things are looking up for Kariatu To and her family. She's able to sell her surplus produce at the market.
Just another inspiring example of how to ensure food security despite climate change effects across Africa and the rest of the world. That's it for Equal Africa for today, your Pan-African European Environment Show. Thank you for watching and goodbye from Lagos, Nigeria.
Thanks, NT. As always, it was fun hosting the program with you. And if any of you want to find out more, go to our website. The address will be on your screen in just a moment. Or even better, if you have something to say about any of our stories, write to us on social media. Now, it's goodbye from me to here in Nairobi, Kenya. Until next time.